Good morning and welcome to the Friday edition of Let It Be Known, brought to you by the Bell Project, helping more than 40,000 families reunite. And the fight against cash bail continues. And the March on PAC, a woman led organization that is fighting to uphold what's left of democracy anyway. They're doing a yeoman's job. And uh, we are proud to have them as one of our partners on Let It Be Known. Lots going on this morning. It is Happy Swag Hoodie Day, and RNG is rocking Southern University. And yes, the Laura Luma Candace Owens fight is certainly not Black folks' business. I am in 100% agreement with you on that. And even with that, I'm going to read some of Laura Luma's comments because, and the reason being, is because when what they say, ever since I was a kid, I used to hear this saying: "You lie down with dogs, you're gonna get some fleas." and and the stuff that Laura Loomis said, it shows you that it's no longer about decorum at all. People are unhinged. They're saying what they want to say, saying what it's speaking from the heart. Out of the heart's abundance, the mouth speaks. Um, we're gonna talk about that. Rihanna is lighting it up, boy. She's sizzling online with her new. She's it was I never heard of lingerie day, and so her Savage X Fenty collection. She of course doing what Rihanna does. So we'll uh, talk about that as well. Of course, tonight is the big night worldwide release of the Michael Jackson movie that so many are now talking about. So many have now seen. The critics have seen. There have been several screenings, and we got a chance last month to see a screening. Um, but so much going on. But there's one particular actress, and it's so funny because I don't really know Kat Graham, but I got a message from her like a few weeks ago. I didn't know who she was until now, and um, she's not going to be in they cut her part out of the film, and so I didn't respond because first of all I didn't know who she was, and secondly, um, I thought it was kind of I just didn't want to say anything about the film, and that she was saying some things about the film, but nonetheless, it was very interesting, very very interesting. Um, we start this morning with something that's going on across the country, but really took center stage in New York. Something that has been going on for quite some time now, and yeah, especially to Black folks. This deed theft situation, it's prevalent. And Mayor Zoran Mandani in New York today established the Office of Deed Theft Prevention and named a longtime homeowner assistance lawyer as its director, a guy named Peter White. Um, there was a huge to do about this. A council member was slammed to the ground, got a concussion, slammed to the ground by police as he was trying to help this woman fight back as they allegedly, she's alleged victim of deed theft in New York. And what happens with deed theft, it's what happens is it's often made through forged documents, short sales, and foreclosures, which are rescues. Yeah, they call them rescue scams. And what happens is they strip families of generational wealth, ripping away what is likely their most valuable asset. 63% of respondents to deed theft saw title fraud or deed theft in the past year. The Northeast reported the highest prevalence of these scams at 92%. 62% of cases involve vacant land, while 12% involved owner occupied homes, which is what happened last week in New York. First American Bank reports that while 2024 FBI data showed over 9,300 real estate fraud complaints totaling 173 million in losses, 63% saw title fraud or deed theft in the past year, indicates a high volume and a high value threat. And as far as recovery is concerned, victims often face 50,000 to 150,000 in legal fees to recover their own property. And again, as we said, these crimes are more common in central cities and suburban areas, Black folks in particular, and properties that are owned free and clear with no mortgage are really targeted. Those that are still under the names of somebody who has died are targeted as well. Letitia James, the AG there in New York, said the complaints have risen dramatically over the past couple of years. It's, and I'm sorry, common fraud methods is the seller impersonation. Scammers pretend to be the owner of a vacant lot or a home to sell it quickly. Then there's forged documents, use of fake IDs, notary for fraud. Can't speak this morning. It's Friday. And deed theft and historical land theft have severely, of course, impacted African Americans, with estimates showing that Black families lost approximately 90% of their farmland between 1910 and 1997. We know about the systemic dispossession, and they estimate that with along with modern real estate fraud, this has contributed to massive racial wealth divide with over $326 billion in agricultural land value estimated as lost to African Americans. And so in the case in New York, the latest case, I should say, in New York, apparently, lady got cited for something, spent the night in jail, and while she was in jail, they took her property. And, this is what the big fight was. They claimed that they got access somehow, and they showed these papers, and she's gotta fight to get her property back. But there's a scam for everything, folks. It's just no matter what it is, you get phone calls, you get texts, you get emails. I mean, every single day, 6 on average, 6 times a day, this one particular, uh, place sends calls. If you answer, which you shouldn't, but they call me 6, 7 times a day, this one particular scam about some sort of personal loan. First of all, I don't want a personal loan because I don't wanna have to pay anybody back. So, um, but they even have a thing you could put them on do not call list. Well, I have done that a number of times, and, um, they still call. They still call. But scams, I like reading, and you don't have to be 50 or whatever, but I like reading AARP, the magazine, because they keep you up to date with all of the latest scams. Because a lot of the scams, of course, a lot of times they target seniors, and, so AARP is always on top of it. So check out AARP, the magazine, because it's a good source or resource anyway. And so, yeah, check that out. And then I was mentioning, and RNG mentioned the Candace Owens Lauren Loomer thing, and how off the chain it is, and like he said, and certainly Candace Owens you're on your own with this. Yeah, Laura Loomer, we all know, she's prone to making these racist comments. So it's like that's between y'all. Yeah, and you know, I don't want to hear about black people rallying behind Candace Owens. But Laura Aluma uh, says she called her a nappy-headed black bee, a resentful ghetto black bee. She says, "I am not afraid of Candace Owens, and I'm happy to match her energy. I'm happy to wrestle in the mud with that, roll around and hurl insults back and forth with her if that's what she wants to do." She says, "There's really, honestly, nothing that this woman can do to me. There's nothing that Candace Owens can say about me that's going to harm me." But then she really dug in, and sometimes, sometimes there seems to be kernels of truth, even when folks like this speak. She goes, "Candace Owens is a liar. She's a deeply insecure woman who is very unloved at the end of the day." Now she's not the only one who said that, and it hasn't come from a place of anger from some people. It's come from a place of observing her. So this woman who is allegedly, this is a quote now from Laura Luma. This is a woman who is allegedly in a relationship with a gay man who is always going to feel the rejection of her family. She says, "Your husband hates you. Humanity hates you. Everybody who loved Charlie Kirk hates you." And this stuff, that part, I believe. She says, "Your children are 100% going to hate you." Maybe not 100%, but hmm, she says, if what this guy Milo is saying about your husband allegedly having a gay affair, I'll put it mildly because she puts it very graphically. She says, if that's true, she says, your husband, the person that you're supposed to grow old and die with, hates you. And this is the thing, laying down with dogs, you get fleas. This is what Candace Owens chose to lay down with for a long time, a long time. So I get what RNG is saying. I'm 100% with RNG. There's no backing Candace Owens. There's no love there for Candace Owens. There's no, oh my gosh, how could anybody stand by and hear a black woman be attacked? Candace Owens has never identified herself since she's come into the spotlight. She's never identified as black. She's done everything to suggest she's not black. You have to go back to her college days when she ran to the NAACP for help, and she conveniently forgot about that. So, I know Omarosa was invited back to the barbecue by many, not by me, because they all to me, hey, bye. What Robin on Good Morning America, he said, "Bye, Felicia." Candace who? Lady Leo said, "Candace who?" And that's exactly how many people hope that when the name Candace comes up, Candace Owens comes up, people will, and black people in particular, will say, "Candace who?" Because that's just the way it is. You got bigger fish, as they say, to fry, including this nonsense, folks. And we know um, that this is the case. A new special edition of the Blackout Report, sounding the alarm over what comes next for black-owned businesses seeking federal work. It was released yesterday by Onyx Impact alongside the Global Black Economic Forum, America Pride Rises, and the Aramenta Project. And the report argues that President Trump's March 26th executive order targeting diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts among federal contractors further shuts down black businesses, shuts them out of one of the country's biggest wealth building lanes. According to the Blackout report, black owned entities currently receive just 1.2% of federal contracts, despite uh, of federal contracting dollars, despite federal contracting making up $774 billion. The analyst says that 9.3 billion in annual black wealth creation is now at risk as Trump narrows access even more. Onyx Impact says the numbers make the administration, the Trump administration's latest move hard to ignore. And there were several early warning signs already taking shape across contracting, including black-owned businesses being dropped from supply chains, heavier compliance burdens for smaller firms, slower outreach and supplier development efforts, and reduced access to repeat contract opportunities that often help businesses grow over time. So we know that while Trump has certainly exacerbated the problem, it has been there for a long time. And Eleanor Holmes Norton, the outgoing delegate for DC, has for years fought to get federal contracts to black-owned and small black-owned entities, including the black press. And one of the things that Eleanor Norton said, and unfortunately, too many folks seem to have overlooked that nugget. And she said this way back in 2016. She said, "You know, I can do this. I can get the General Accounting Office to give us the accurate numbers, the report. I can push for certain resolutions and legislations." Because remember, as a DC delegate, you know, they don't have a vote in Congress. She can only push and suggest, and she can uh, put forth resolutions. And she did her part. And she said that you all, and in this case, she was specifically talking to the black press. You all need to press this. You all need to push this. I'll do my part on the Hill, but you. And she didn't get a lot of pushing from the black press. She just didn't. You can't, grandma used to say, "Closed mouths don't get fed." Now, you can also argue and be true about this, that white-owned businesses, they don't even have to open their mouth when they get fed by the federal government in particular, and that's very true. But we have to do better. We have to fight for ourselves. If you don't fight for yourself, how do you expect anyone else to fight for you? Well, the key among the key takeaways from the blackout report, black-owned firms received, like we said, 1.2% of federal contract dollars within a $774 billion market, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse. So if we haven't buckled down, we better do it now. We better do it now. I like this story here, folks. In Omaha, yeah, the home of Malcolm X. Y'all don't, that's where Malcolm X was born. A new chapter in education is set to begin in North Omaha as Identity Preparatory Academy prepares to open Nebraska's first state-approved Black-founded school, designed specifically as an all-girls middle school. It was founded by educator and leader Dernisha Phillips, and what she wants to do is provide a culturally responsive learning environment that centers both academic excellence and community engagement. And this was years in the making, and lots of sweat equity, and a lot of lobbying, et cetera, et cetera. She explained that the school's foundation was built through a program called Dreams of Our Daughters, where families and students shared what they wanted from their educational experience. So this new school is opening up, and soon to be attending students have already contributed ideas for the school's activities, including sports such as basketball and flag football, as well as practical life skills like cooking and the environment. So good for them in Omaha, Nebraska. This is it's historic, and so we'll be following up on that. Some excellent stuff. So tonight is the night. It is opening night, official opening night for the Michael Jackson movie. And as I mentioned, Cat Graham has talked about. She made it clear yesterday that she does not appear in the final uh, cut of the Lionsgate biopic Michael. It was reported that she would star in Michael as the legendary singer and actress Diana Ross. However, she said that one day ahead of the release, that the scenes she filmed for it had been cut due to quote legal considerations. So there's no Diana Ross, and there is a Gladys Knight. There is a Gladys Knight. I will tell you that much. And yeah, and it's a good reason why there's a Gladys Knight. Again, I know many have not yet seen the film, so today is the first chance to see it for many. So um, it should it'll answer all your questions. Your questions, whatever questions you may have had about the film, good, bad, or indifferent, will be answered. Um, you know what my take on the film has been. I've already told you what my take is that it's a very, very entertaining film, and every single there's not going to be one disappointed Michael Jackson fan, not one, because of what you read about Janet, his daughter Paris. There's not going to be one disappointed fan. Uh, Jafar Jackson, Jermaine's son, Michael's nephew, kills his role, and that young Michael Jackson kills his role too. But who really dominates is Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson. That guy really channeled Joe Jackson. You have Nia Long as Catherine, Miles Teller as entertainment lawyer and manager John Branca. Lorenz Tate is playing Barry Gordy. They have a couple of really intense scenes with Barry Gordy. Uh, Kendrick Sampson will play Quincy Jones. And maybe he could have done more with the Quincy Jones character. There could be an argument about that, but all in all, no matter what, you're going to if you are a fan of Michael Jackson, you are going to enjoy the movie Michael. You'll probably see it more than once. Um, I mentioned Gladys Knight. Liv Simone plays Gladys Knight. Mike Myers plays CBS Records president Walter Yetnikoff, and Laura Harrier plays Suzanne DePass, and you know Suzanne DePass played a big role in the success, or at least the presentation of the Jackson 5, and of course, it was Suzanne DePass who convinced Berry Gordy to allow Michael Jackson to perform Billie Jean on the Motown 25 anniversary show. And of course, that was the show, that was the moment that Michael became the king of pop. If you could point to that moment where he really took over, and that performance was talked about and still talked about forever. He won or at least gained an Emmy nomination for that performance, and he always talked about the biggest thrill from that was that he right immediately after Fred Astaire called him to congratulate him on that performance. And the thing about it is he said he that he didn't think he had given such a good performance until he opened his eyes. You remember at the end of his performance, his eyes was closed, he opened his eyes, he did look kinda surprised. So I certainly believed him when he said that he didn't realize it was such a good performance until he opened his eyes and the fans were standing and cheering. The audience was standing and cheering, and his brothers were on the side of the stage going nuts. They were cheering him on too. It was such a performance, if you saw it as it was happening, you remember the electricity. I remember, where I grew up in New York, that summer, there was block parties, and there was always the Billie Jean dance off. Michelle Madison says, "I know that my 11-year-old grandson won't be disappointed. He's been a fan of Michael Jackson since he was 3 years old. My daughter, son-in-law, and I are still wondering how he knew of him." Y'all was playing the music. Y'all was watching the videos. There was Thriller going on in your house, Michelle. Oh, boy. But it should be, as we said, a thriller, and folks are gonna love it. Again, we talked about part 2. We'll see what it brings, what part 2 brings, but I can't imagine that part 2 is gonna be as satisfying as part 1. I think, this film does, a lot of, justice for his fans, as much as he's gonna get, and the critics don't like it. The critics don't like this film at all, and I'm sure that the fans don't care about that. They're upset, as his fans get upset at the least perceived slight. Why is your son-in-law in the closet about being a Michael Jackson fan? Terrible, 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 terrible. Um, yeah, about to get in some trouble, y'all. Get in some trouble. But, mm, Rihanna, we gonna talk about Rihanna because she turned up the heat, as she flashed the cameras, with her new collection, of lingerie. She took as who wrote that? One of the entertainment sites that she took to all fours for a red hot Fenty shoot. I mean, she brought out a new collection, and Rihanna is Rihanna. She knows how she, she knows her stuff. She knows her product. She knows what her fans like, and she did all this. You see the shots, and Rihanna is not like you could probably find easily 100 women who are probably more attractive, but you're not gonna find anybody more confident and more sexy than Rihanna. I mean, she's just it's just that way. She captured them, Savage Summer Loading, the Savage Savage X Fenty Mon Amour collection, and it's available at savagex.com. She posed in a red satin lingerie, and she just looked incredible, as always. Her and ASAP know what they're doing. It's a good couple, right? He's a model too, among other things that he does. He knows how to dress. Yep. Dr. Nicole, going back to the Michael movie, says critics wanted to see the controversy and the allegation. It's clearly not about that, especially during the era covered during the film. Right. That has nothing to do with it. Right. Exactly. But this collection by Rihanna, look, she mentions doing the, posting too, and nobody cared about this little tidbit. She's gonna drop an album, but then she continued. She just it was a one line in her post, and the post was probably a paragraph long, and there was one little note in there that she's gonna drop an album for the first time in 10 years. Nobody cares. When she is, showing off her Savage X, her latest collection, that's music already. That's about as much music as you need from Rihanna, and I thought she was pregnant. I guess she's not pregnant. The rumor that she was pregnant again, and you never know. Dr. Nicole says Rihanna is living her best life, does not need to make another record ever, although her fans would like her to, and is still making money. Yeah, I mean, she's making far more money than she would, by putting out a record. Heck, she's a billionaire, but th she's doing stuff apparently and obviously that she wants to do, and when you're a billionaire, if you don't do what you wanna do, then, shame on you. So, yeah, she is living her best life. You know, you look at a lot of and who knows what ultimately will happen with between her and A$AP Rocky, and you always hope, especially, I guess they're not married, but I was gonna say, especially in a marriage that, you root for marriage. I don't care who it is. You don't want to see marriages broken up, but but they seem to be very in touch with each other, and, they seem to be the epitome of a really solid couple with children. Yeah, I don't think they're married, Dr. Nicole. I think one of the things that, they have said was they've talked about it, and they're afraid, and which is if this is true, I don't subscribe to this either, but they're afraid that, things are so good between them that marriage how's marriage gonna you're already living the married life. You live together, got kids together. I hate when people say stuff like that. If you're together like that, and you heck, you're already having babies. But, so ladies and gentlemen, go out and, shop for the Mon Amour package. Um, yeah, 100%, Michelle. Michelle says 100%. But nobody does it like Rihanna. They wanna put out their Kardashian, trashy and stuff and all this other stuff, but Rihanna is where it's at. Rihanna is where it's at, and, RG says, "She makes more than I do. I sell crawfish." Daggone it, RNG. You haven't hit the billion yet? I thought you was already at the $1 billion mark, RNG. I'm disappointed. Are you like George Jefferson? George Jefferson said he's not a millionaire, he's a thousandaire. RNG is not a billionaire, he's a 100 millionaire. How about that? I'm telling you with the student loan interest that this guy charges, I'm sure I'm sure he's got that got more than one mattress that the money's under for sure. It's Swag Friday, so I guess RNG got a show tonight. Y'all gotta check him out on the RNG Swag Sports on YouTube and wherever else he might, he may broadcast. I watch him on YouTube. He says he donates to all HBCU students. I can see that. That's a it's like I always say this about, Stephanie Mills, like, she does everything black she supports. Um, and RNG, when it comes to HBCUs, no one could ever deny his love of HBCUs and his support of HBCUs. Some awesome stuff there. While cooking, boil, what do you do? You boil the crawfish. So he's out in the yard, got a beer, got the crawfish going. You gotta put some catfish on the grill. You gotta do to go along with the crawfish. I'll have the catfish and you have the crawfish. I don't think I've ever had crawfish. I guess I gotta check it out, huh? I gotta check it out. But, so folks, you gotta check out Rihanna's, stuff. I said that like, gotta check out her stuff. No, only ASAP gets to check out her stuff. I meant her lingerie line. He says he grills salmon. Okay, that's healthy. That's healthy. So my wife wouldn't mind me hanging out with you then, because that's healthy. Oh boy, it's the weekend, folks. I'm gonna see the Michael film again, and whatever else might come our way. It's supposed to be some more not so great weather, but we'll get through this as well. But whatever you do, you know what I say: do it safe and do it fun, and don't let all that's going on just overwhelm you. Have some fun. Go boil some crawfish like our RNG, or grill some salmon, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Let it be known.
Let's go! Let's go, Flav. Hey! Propaganda